Okay, guys, I don't want to break up the conversation, but man, we got a $50 super chat going on over here. So wait a minute, that calls for the first appearance of $1 million super chat. Thank you,
thank you,
Zero Depressive. I guess I'm backing this unwillingly. Like I already said, be called all the ists and phobes by the industry for years for nothing. See then if you can find excitement in this kind of slogan. Okay. So he's alluding to the fact that some people in the comics fandom feel marginalized when they express opinions that are outside of what is perceived as the mainstream left-wing opinion. And you know what do I have to say about that? I don't know. I want to hear what you have to say about it.
In 2016, I made this hat. I don't know if you can read it. Make the comic industry great again. Unfortunately, my father passed away because I was taking these to New York Comic Con. So I had some friends pass them out at New York Comic Con. And immediately, the amount of hate for clearly what is a parody hat, the amount of hate I received for a parody hat worn by me, the biggest loudmouth in our industry. And I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, I literally had people telling me they wanted me to go out of business because I made a hat. The frustration.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this culture war stuff, guys? Any you want to chime in on this? Because I'll tell you the truth, people are a little bit tired of this. A lot of people are tired of hearing about this. A lot of people are tired about talking about it. It is a bit of a hobby horse for me. But Timmy, what do you got to say?
You know, politics doesn't exist in my store. Comics are political, yes, but I don't care, you know, as long as you're not saying terrible, ungodly things like, you know, that make someone angry, that hit hard. Like if you want to order through my store the most liberal comic possible or the most conservative, you know, my job is to put comics in your hands. Like when, and not to go, it's political what I'm about to say, but a little off topic, but like when everyone was doing the whole Lunar Diamond thing and wanting to explain to their customers the politics of the DC thing, the Lunar thing, the Diamond thing, dude, my job isn't to spout my politics into my customer. All right. If you want to read New Warriors and order the 1 out of 500 variant and pay me money for it, I'm gonna put that in your hands so quick. My whole, you know, I'll do it. You know, and if you want to order catalog something that is very, you know, pro-conservative while, you know, or pro-liberal, like I, Timmy Hague, don't have Republican or Democratic allegiance. Okay.
What I would do if I was really politically opposed to something a customer ordered, and assuming it wasn't, you know, true hate speech, etc. Here's what I would do. I would take the money. I would take as much as they could. And then I would donate that to a counter cause, maybe for that cause. And I might even let the customer know that. But I would certainly be willing to take their money.
If someone is making their order with me and spouting, you know, their nonsense about it with how driven they are and passionate about it, about a comic book and how it politically charges them, I'm probably going to give a weird looking face and be like, whoa, man, okay. And if I weird him out because of my honesty, it is what it is. But like, I'm not going to be selling hate speech or terrible, you know, things that promote, you know, ungodly acts towards people. So,
but frankly, yeah, that to me, the biggest thing that invalidates a lot of the talk about this is that, like, the idea that comics should not be political and they should be action-packed fun for the whole family is bullshit. And some of the best comics from the best creators in mainstream are explicitly political. Go to Dark Knight Returns and show Ronald Reagan. That was put out in the Reagan administration, right? And like, there's clear overt and subvert and covert political
immigrant and Captain America when he's punching Hitler on the cover. You know, comics are political. Art is political. And if you don't like it, read something else. You know,
but on the same token, show me one thing political in Cyberfrog.
And that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have to, but
to say
there should not be is the.
But there's nothing political in Cyberfrog. But there's nothing political in Cyberfrog. The entire argument is this guy is a hater. Don't let him be in our industry. And
I don't think that's it at all. Look, man. you can talk about your $850,000 or whatever that guy raised. He's got 6,000 backers. Okay. So he's got 6,000 fans out there of varying levels of dedication. And he runs a 24-hour infomercial grift network that does nothing but talk about hate to sell. Not talk about hate. Talk about
hate. Tell me what hate.
No, not talk about hate. Not as in spewing hate, but as in we hate social justice warriors. That's the whole thing. And they're taking people who are legitimately feel the opinion that this viewer put in here, that they feel a little bit marginalized politically. They're playing into that and bilking it for money, for dollars. There's no political. Those guys aren't making a political point. Comicsgate is a money-making grift, 100%.
Absolutely. But you know what? They were all ostracized. I know Billy Tucci personally. I know Ethan Van Sciver personally. You know, I had them at my
Dennis, you were ostracized too. And I'll say this to you like I would say it to them. You say shitty things and you loudmouth and you start talking about people. People are not going to like you and they're not going to take your message seriously, even when you are speaking the truth. And even when you do have a good message, it's going to get ignored because it's getting drowned in garbage. Mike, what did you want to say? I'm sorry. And then Dennis, I'll let you respond to that if you want to.
Well, I just wanted to make the point that here now in 2020, it has never, ever been easier to create comics. There are so many avenues to get your comics out and be seen, whether it's online or print or crowdfunding or whatever. None of those creators, I mean, even those big, well-known established creators, I should say well-known within comics, like Tucci or Van Sciver or whoever, they have probably been blacklisted by certain publishers, but they are not kicked out of the industry by any means because the industry is made up of everyone. They are the industry. So if they can't get work one way, if they're talented and creative enough, they're going to find a way to make money another way. And good for them. You know, they may not be comics that interest certain readers or certain retailers because of their insane business model of charging $25 for a 48-page comic. But there are people who are going to see that and go, that's exactly what I want, and I can't get that anywhere else. Personally, I disagree with that. I think that there's comics that are in the direct market ecosystem by itself that are for everyone. You just have to look for them. But if there's something that specific people really want, good for them. You know, it's available, and there's people who are willing to charge them as much as they can get for it. And good for them.
Jimmy?
You know, like when it comes to like these politically charged comics, if they were in previews and someone put on their pull list, I'm not going to, not put it on there. I don't care about someone's political opinion, I'm going to look at you the same weird way, whether it's Democrat or Republican spewing your beliefs in my store. If you just want to read comics, awesome. I've never read Cyberfrog. I think it's an interesting design of a character. I don't know what it's about. Is there maybe some politically charged behind it? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I can't sell it in my store, so it doesn't concern me. It's not, it's not something I can order. And I'm not, I'm sorry if my super liberal friends, my fellow retailers are calling me, a wuss because I'm not picking a side, or my conservative retailers not picking a side. But by the end of the day, I don't care about your politics. I care about paying my goddamn bills and paying my parents' mortgage one day and making sure they can retire. My job on this earth is to put comics in people's hands.
Yeah, and you're talking like a retailer, pal. And I feel like most people, I've gotten a lot of people that feel the same way. A lot of people have expressed to me and reached out to me and said, like what the commenter was saying a little bit, like I don't want to express my opinion, my right-wing opinion, because it'll cost me business or cost me whatever. And I'm just gonna say, it's a legitimate, it happens, but dude, what are you gonna do? Life is what it is. People are gonna hate for all kinds of reasons. Keep the politics out of what you're selling. It's okay to be in the product, but that's a relationship between the artist and the end user, the consumer, right?
I don't care about your political opinion. I just want to sell comics and love comics and talk about comics.
Because I'm going to carry Robert Crumb no matter what. And somebody's going to come in and they're going to say that is sexist, it's racist, and they're going to show me some very explicit racist stuff with the N-word and far beyond, probably the most racist thing you'll ever see in a comic. You're going to find in a Robert Crumb comic.
This is how
Does
much
that invalidate it? Does that make him racist necessarily? No. So I'm sorry, Leaf. Come on.
Complain about that.
CBS is no R Crumb, but go ahead. Sorry, Leaf.
I've never had anyone come in and complain about Crumb.
the
I have one.
Yeah,
I do have one.
But what I was, and along with what Tim's saying, and I keep pointing at the wrong direction, Tim, so I apologize. Here's the problem is they are pushed out of the industry because even when somebody gets picked up by a publisher, like your boy Zach had that book that got picked up by Anarchic Press, Mark Waid picks up the phone call and says, you got to cancel that deal or nobody's going to work for you again. Now, I don't know how the conversation went down, but your customers don't have the option to have it in Diamond, even though it was picked up with a publisher, because immediately the blacklist comes into effect. And I want to get to a point where all comics are accepted, all comics, and I don't care if you want to have, and I've got videos for me defending Lady Thor for an hour, the validity of Lady Thor.
Okay, so the stores might want to carry that stuff. But here's the thing: those guys have elected for the most part to say we don't want to be in comic stores. They're not available through previews.
Not originally, though.
And wait a minute, and what's his face? Meyer wants to say I'm blacklisted because Antarctic Press won't print my thing because of what's his face and a lawsuit and whatever else. But dude, nothing prevents if he wanted to tomorrow, went to Diamond and opened an account and wanted to sell comics in the previews, they would not say no. Yes, they would. They have a retailer approval board that decides what is even allowed to be advertised. I don't believe you. I don't believe that would fail. I went to them with a comic book and a national ad campaign, and they said, we don't like the comic book. This was 10 years ago.
I mean, come on. They put Boundless in the catalog. I mean,
the point is, exactly, they put Boundless in there because they know tits will sell. And it does.
Dennis, without seeing the book in question, I cannot comment on that because I'm willing to bet there's some heinous shit in there, or it just stunk. Or
no, it wasn't. It was about an alcoholic clown named. Basically, it was a Krusty ripoff, and the guy. An alcoholic. What was it? Oh, it was Wolfman Mac, and the guy had a national syndicated cartoon or TV show where he was a horror host on MeTV, and this was the comic that we were going to launch alongside with it. And they wouldn't even solicit it. Like a Svengoolie type thing. Yeah, no, it was. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Dennis, send me a copy and I will do a review of it on my show. And I will give this ex-retailer's opinion on the saleability and the commercial ability of that comic.
If you want, I'd be happy to do the same. I used to be the submissions editor at Dark Horse Comics, and I'd be happy to give you my unvarnished opinion if you want it. That
was where I was confusing because we actually pitched Gappo the Clown.
That's great.
To Dark Horse with Dirk and a couple other guys.
And I just want to point out, if you want to be a guest on the Dan Shaheen Comic Book News with Dan Shaheen, please send an email to turbodork@danshaheen.com or DM at hijinks on Twitter. And I want to see people, retailers. I want to see creators. And if you've got a work you want me to review, crowdfunded or not, I don't care. Send me a physical copy. Email me. I'll give you my address. Send me a physical copy. I'll put it up on the $1 Million Comics cam, and we'll take a look at it. And I will give you a fair and honest shake. And shoot, it could be full of political stuff if you want it to be. I love political comics, man. That's some of my favorite stuff in the world. Joe Sacco and Art Spiegelman and Frank Miller too, and so many others. Politics belong in comics. We love them, right, Timmy? So, okay, guys,